everyone. Welcome to another episode of Person of Interest. Today we have Kerry Fagan, who is the owner of Mark Thomas Men's Apparel. So we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is fashion today, and retail, and going through COVID. But I love the fact that your store, Kerry, focuses on personal style and fit for men so that they can look fabulous, and that it's a luxurious apparel that you sell, and that we really get to that fact with men that you can look fabulous and
you should look fabulous
to you. Yeah. So welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit more, like the history of the store. We're definitely going to talk about retail during COVID.
Yeah, lots to say, good and bad. Yeah,
absolutely. So tell us about, the history of the store. I know your father.
Absolutely, yeah. So my father and a partner had worked at a bunch of different men's clothing stores, Christopher's, Spector's, over the years. When my father was 55 and his partner was 53, they said, you know what, let's start our own store, our own men's store. People they had worked for and with in the past said, oh, it'll never work, disparaged them in the Times Union, there's no room for them. Needless to say, 18 years later, we're bigger and better than ever. On 2018, my father's partner wanted out of the business. So I bought 100% of the business from my father's partner and my father. My father's still there full-time, or I should say full-time-ish. He hates the winter, so he'll go to Florida a week a month in the colder months, which I'm perfectly fine with. In 2018, when I bought the business, I had never worked a day in retail in my life, not in high school, not in college. I knew nothing of the business other than the business side of it. My background's finance. I had always worked in finance. So when my dad said, hey, do you want to buy Mark Thomas, completely out of the blue, I said, let me take a look at the last three years tax returns. I mean, I know what they do. I know the clientele they have, the brands and all that. And, I had to have the deal done, financing, paid for, everything in 5.5 weeks. There was no contract. It was a handshake deal from idea to October 1st, 2018, when I signed the paperwork and paid for the business. So, yeah, I think in life and love and everything else, you have to be open to, X factors and stuff coming out of left field and right field and, so on and so forth. It's like, you got to keep an open mind. You never know where the next great business idea, whatever might come from. So.
Yeah, no, that's it. And you lived like a bunch of different places.
Yeah, so I was born in Boston in 77. I'm 44 years old now. Moved to Troy, where both of my parents were from originally. My parents moved back to Troy. I moved to Troy when I was 12. Went to SUNY Albany, went to Troy schools, went to SUNY Albany, graduated in 2001, went out to Vail for a couple winters, skied, waited tables. That was an absolutely amazing experience. Not a winter goes by when I don't think about selling all my worldly possessions and, moving back to Vail. Not a winter goes by when I don't think about that. So I basically go out for, 4 or 5 days every winter to get my fix. But at some point after Vail, I went out to San Francisco, really wanted to work in finance. I had gotten some business cards during my time in Vail and just went out to San Francisco and, temp. And it was really difficult at the time to get a job in San Francisco. I think it was 2002, 2003. It was like a mini recession. So there was a for rent sign in every third building. I was like, oh, great, it'll be easy to find a place to live. It's like, yeah, it was, but it was very tough to get a job. So needless to say, I temped in finance for like 9 months, finally got a job offer from a gentleman named Peter Kniff. He was a redheaded guy from Brooklyn, and him and I just saw eye to eye from the get-go. He offered me my first job, and that was my first job on Wall Street, which led to a bunch of other stuff. Ended up working for Lehman Brothers for years. They paid me to leave in 2008, spring of 2008, and I was devastated at the time. I loved the job, loved San Francisco. My girlfriend at the time was working at a hedge fund. Everything was great. And then they laid me off. And, again, it was a shock, as it always is. I got an email. The subject line was all red, come to the conference room. And 3 people had already gotten laid off that morning. So, I used to work New York market hours. So I would get to work at 4 a.m. and I'd leave like 2:30, 3 o'clock most days. this day, it's a Monday. I go in at 4. I'm home at my house by 7 a.m. laid off, which was crazy. That being said, they paid me my salary for 6 months and some stock options out and health insurance. And in hindsight, everybody else that stuck around for another 6 months, the firm filed for bankruptcy and they got nothing. So honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. They paid me to leave, which is a pretty cool story for a firm that was bankrupt 6 months later. I took about 6 months off in San Francisco, played golf, surfed, just kind of, saw what was going on. California unemployment was 2 years at the time. And this was 2008, like started the financial crisis. I could feel the world getting worse and worse. And I was like, holy shit, like musical chairs. If I don't find another seat, I'm going to get squeezed out of finance. I hadn't been doing it long enough to be a veteran. I was kind of still a newbie, and got a job offer in Albany, came back to Albany kicking and screaming. I went from living in San Francisco, great job, great apartment in the marina, 3 blocks from the water, to living in my parents' house in Troy, because the only house I owned in Troy was rented out. 6 months later, broke up with my girlfriend. I came back in October. It starts getting cold. It starts getting gray. The first couple of years were tough. I hated the new job, which I ended up, which turned into a great job with a great experience and great people, doing the same thing, covering the West Coast. So I'd still fly out to the West Coast once a month. But, it's funny. What's so grateful that, when life looks like easy street, there's danger at the door. It's like so true. You can go from, I was living my absolute best version of my life to, back in my apartment, my parents' house, like in the course of, literally, a few days. It's like, 6 months, you go from top of the world to holy shit. And then it just kept getting worse. Broke up with the girlfriend, it's like, wow. So all good, at the time it was tough. In hindsight, I probably would have stuck it out a little bit longer. California unemployment at the time was 2 years, which was a gift during the, 2008, 2009 financial crisis. I had no responsibilities, no debt. I could have coasted forever, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, I took the safe route. So.
I love it. A whirlwind background that led you to where you are today, which is super.
You look at all these successful people, male, female, from all over the world, and, you look at their careers and what they've accomplished, you think it's such a linear path. And let me tell you, from my experience and what I've seen, it's far, far from linear. Yeah, company goes public, you're bankrupt, divorced, second company gets sold for a fortune, your, CFO steals all your money. Like, I just think, people, we all polish up our resumes and they look amazing, but, there's definitely fits and starts in there for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's bad.
Yeah. If you just keep going like this, you gotta have some of this, right? You gotta.
It would be boring as hell, and you'd be overly confident and cocky. So I think you have to. I think it makes you appreciate the good times more. And I think that after you've been through some tough times, you realize it's temporary. This too shall pass. And I think it's a good character building exercise. Anybody can be confident and positive and optimistic when things are going well. That's great. But let's talk about when you're getting divorced, or, when you file for bankruptcy and you have nothing and you still have to get up the next day, look your boss, wife, children, pets in the face and say, you know what, I'm going to work today. I'm going to figure this out somehow, some way. That, that grit I respect. And I got a lot of that from growing up in Troy, where, a lot of, there's a lot of working poor. People work really hard for very, very little, and the vast majority of people get up every day, they go to work, whatever their job might be. And anybody that gets up every day, goes to work and supports their family, I have the utmost respect for, because as we all know, it's not easy.
Absolutely. And actually, to build off of that, let's talk about retail during COVID. So let's talk about March 2020 in your business and the grit behind that. Sure. You were sharing some things with me about.
Sure.
Let's start with March 2020, because where you are now, like, what a journey.
Put your seatbelt on for this one. So I bought the business, Mark Thomas, in October 1st. So that was 2018. So we had 2 incredible years. I freshened things up. Some new furniture, some new pictures on the wall, fresh paint, just some more, I got rid of anything that was dated clothing wise, we donated, maybe let's say 1 in 20 pieces had to go, because one mediocre piece detracts from 10 beautiful pieces. So I donated a bunch of stuff, just got rid of it, just kind of like a reset, just freshen things up, some more casual stuff. We'd always been so formal. But anyways, end of February 2020. The end of February, we're up 29% year over year business wise. I'm like, you know what? Like we are rocking and rolling. I'm like, this is going to be a record year. Late February. Within 2 weeks, we were shut down. I can remember the last Saturday we were open, one person came in. Saturdays are busy days, almost always year round. It's just, most people work during the week. They're too busy to get out during the week, but Saturday they get the car wash, they get gas, they shop, they go to the grocery store, and we're a part of a lot of people's schedule. And literally within 1 week, from the let's say March 7th, March 8th to March 15th, business just fell off a cliff. And I was so relieved when the governor shut us down, because personally I was ready to do it voluntarily, right? Like if we're not going to make any money, let's just mothball it. Nothing's perishable. We can shut down for 2 weeks, a month, month and a half. Needless to say, when he shut us down, I was very relieved, because my father was in his 70s at the time. My tailors are older. I was more concerned with them. I was willing to get COVID if that's what it took. I'm healthy, I'm in good shape. I would hope if I got it, I would get better. But if anything ever happened to any of my employees, I would feel terrible about it forever. And we took every precaution we could, but like nobody knew, how was it transmitted? I mean, nobody knew anything at the time. What I thought would be a 2-week shutdown per the governor, we were phase 2, I think, or whatever it's called. It was 2.5 months, 2.5 months off. So I homeschooled my daughter in the morning. I played golf in the afternoon. And, like anything else, the highlight of my day, we'd go to Stewart's around 6:30 and get ice cream. That was like, that was the highlight of it. My store is off of Wolf Road. For months and months and months, you could have landed an airplane on Wolf Road. I mean, the only thing missing was tumbleweeds blowing down Wolf Road. And as we all know, Wolf Road is the busiest commercial thoroughfare in the capital region. I think the traffic count's like 55,000 vehicles a day. And I mean, you could have driven on the wrong side of the road. It was just like ghost town. And you're like, holy shit, what is going on? June 4th, we reopened. That was the first day we could reopen. We reopened 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. And I joke with everybody, it was the best part-time job I ever had. Obviously, demand fell off a cliff. No one's going to work, but we were still doing business every day. But the guy that would have bought 2 suits and a sport jacket, he would buy a pair of pants and a sweater or a quarter zip. But I have to say, most days we did business. And we even had some good days in there. People like, listen, I need to refresh my wardrobe. This is temporary. Like, can I come in at 10 a.m. on Thursday next week? And, those are great. It's like people are coming to shop and there's no one in the store. It's a private appointment. My tailor's there. I'm there. My father's there. I mean, people, it worked. And the fact that we did do business every day, even though it was much reduced, our business is probably a little over 50%, which at the time was devastating, because we're doing these gangbusters numbers. All of a sudden, somebody shuts the tap off and you're like, wow, what just happened? But again, when people did come in every day, I was like, this has legs. COVID's temporary. I don't know how long it lasts, but at some point there's a vaccine or vaccines and people are going to feel safe coming back. And, obviously June 4th, we're doing business, part-time. As the months went on, we added some time. I'm trying to think. We had a good holiday season, all things considered. I mean, again, we've been open 18 years. People are accustomed to coming to us. We sell better goods. Nobody does exactly what we do with the in-house tailoring and stuff like that. So we have we're a niche within a niche, but it's an amazing niche. Good holiday season. January is typically slow in retail, and it was. My birthday is February 20th. I went out to Vail with a group of friends, my wife and a group of friends. And it was one of those things where like, hey, we're going to Vail. And I was like, holy shit, I can't afford this. Like, this is not a good idea. But I'm like, you know what? In 10 years, I'm going to be like, I should have gone to Vail. So at the time, I held my nose and I was like, ooh, that's expensive. We've got a condo and shared it. And, we were out there for 5 days. It was amazing. It was my first time in an airplane in a year. And even then, like, we had to fly from Albany to Orlando to Denver, because it was so few flights flying that it was nothing direct or close or quick. But, once we got to the airport in Orlando, there was there was a lot of people there like, I remember how this works kind of thing. And honestly, after like a crazy year where, all you're seeing is terrible headlines and, red numbers flashing on the screen of how many people got COVID that day and died. It was nice to get away, get some perspective, get some fresh air. And the trip was absolutely amazing. Came back, I would say March 1st, the spigot turned on, people started shopping, and we've been absolutely slammed every single day from March 1st to yesterday. Absolutely. It's amazing. I think a lot of it's pent up demand. I think a lot of it is that, we were still posting on Facebook and Instagram, all throughout COVID, letting people know, hey, we're still here. People come to the store like, oh, you guys are still here. It's like, yeah, of course we're still here. I mean, did you expect us to go out of business, in a month, And again, thank God my stuff is not perishable. It's like, I feel for restaurants and bars and that kind of stuff, we can operate. We don't have too many employees. Our overhead is relatively low. Like, we were able to coast and it got us through. Thank God for PPP. I'm sure our grandchildren will be paying for it for many years, but at the time, I mean, we got PPP twice, and I'll tell you, when that money hit the account, I knew right then we were fine. No matter how long it took, we were fine. The PPP and the fact that they were able to roll that out, I mean, I think it was a lifesaver. I think without that, every third small business in the country would literally be shuttered to this day, and there'd be tumbleweeds blowing. So I have to say, politics aside, it was a tough choice for politicians to make and people to make, but it absolutely worked, and thank God it did.
Yeah, absolutely. A total lifesaver for so many businesses. And I find it interesting. I love the fact that you guys have, I think you have 2 in-house tailors.
We do, yeah. 2.
Okay, that's a lost art form.
It is.
That. And then also, what I love about this story is that you were tenacious about sticking with your brand, and the fact that you didn't go e-commerce. Like, because you're higher end, things are personalized, right? Style and fit, and you just were like, no, we're not doing that.
If I could answer that in reverse, I would love to. The e-commerce thing, I love it. I think it's a huge opportunity, great, wonderful. A lot of people do it really well, but the magic and the beauty of what we do, it's the fit. You come in, I probably have, let's say 250, 300 suits and sport coats. We carry size 36 short, which is literally jockey size, to 56 long, which is literally NFL linebacker size, and everything in between. And the real magic is, we've been carrying the same brands for years, for the most part, especially in the suit side. Jack Victor, made in Montreal, still manufactured in downtown Montreal, and Canali from Italy. And we sell a ton of each of them. We know the reps, we know the companies, we know the stories. And again, I think the magic for us is, to the point about my tailors. My head tailor's been with us 18 years. She's been doing it about 50, My number 2 tailor's been doing it about 40 years, it's old world. It's amazing for people to see, and I'm able to turn stuff around quickly. Guys are, myself included, are terrible procrastinators. We'll have people come in on Thursday for a suit on a Friday, which is completely unrealistic. But what I'll end up doing is I'll find something that fits really well off the rack. We'll hem the bottoms and, nip and tuck it a little bit. And I always say, listen, wear it to the event, funeral, whatever, interview, whatever you have, bring it back and we'll make it perfect. But I do think that's the real magic behind what we do in our business, is the fit. Beautiful clothes are amazing. You're starting on first base, but they still have to fit perfectly. I think the clothes are 51%. I think fit's 49%. And I always say to people, from what I see, from my now trained eye, is like, most guys out there, I would say 90% of the stuff they're wearing doesn't fit. Too big, too small, pants are too long. The best, you don't have to buy clothes from me or the finest clothes. Find a good tailor at your local dry cleaner, somebody that can work with you, and make sure whatever you have fits. I tell guys all the time, you can go to a big box store and buy, some cheap suit where you buy one and they give you 4 free or whatever it might be. You're much better off. It's never going to fit great. It's not well made. You're going to wear it a couple times. It's not really going to fit well, and it's going to sit in the back of your closet. You're better off buying one nice suit for me, a nice blue suit. You absolutely love it. It fits well. You feel like $1 million in it, and it'll last for years. I tell people, my stuff, it'll be out of style before you wear it out. I guess it's the quality versus quantity thing. And I know some people, people want to be penny wise and pound foolish. Oh my God, how much for a suit? How much for a shirt? But you buy quality, whether it's a suit, a car, a watch, or a home, whatever it might be. Years down the line, you still have that item. That there's the real ROI, I guess, is my point.
Absolutely.
And back to the e-commerce thing, did I think about it during COVID? Absolutely. But again, the vast majority of what we do is tailored clothing. You come in, you find something you absolutely love. My tailors with 90 years of experience, they're going to make it fit like a custom bespoke suit. That's the magic. And I like to think, and I hope I don't have to eat my words in a few years, that that's the moat around our business to protect us from Amazon and e-commerce guys. And again, if anybody really wants to go get my stuff on eBay, feel free, or Amazon, wherever it is. Feel free, but you don't know the cuts, you don't know the fit. You're going to end up with a suit that fits okay. You're going to get an okay tailor to tailor it. It's going to look good. Let's call it goodish. You're not going to look like you stepped out of the pages of GQ like you would with me. So again, and people that want to go that route, I'm all for it. Best of luck to you. We're not for everybody. I don't try to be for everybody, but we have a rabid, dedicated following from doing the same thing really well for 18 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I years ago, because I love good quality clothes. I love fashion in general.
And it shows.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I said to a bunch of girlfriends, I'm like, you know what? You can buy the best dress, but if it doesn't fit you like the way that it should, forget about it. And I was like, does somebody have a business called All About the Fit? Right. So it literally is just, so I love your vision for this personal fit and style. And have you seen, because I'm really interested in this. So before COVID and now, where we are, current state, have you in your store changed any of the types of clothes? Like, because people seem to be a little bit more casual now. So have you incorporated, a change of inventory in any?
Sure. Yeah. And to answer your question, yes, but it wasn't just COVID. In my opinion, when I bought the store, we had too much formal wear. We had nothing else. Like, listen, my guys, they're going to have suits, right? They're going to have beautiful sport coats, but they also want really nice casual clothes, because you don't wear a suit out to dinner on Saturday night. Not everyone does, So again, I say to everybody, listen, I have everything from bathing suits to tuxedos and everything in between. So even before COVID, like I wanted to have a lot of really nice casual clothes, a lot of really nice jeans that fit well. Quarter zips, I'm outside of my work life and work events, most days when I go to work, I walk in with shorts and a quarter zip on, and you know what I mean? I change into my work clothes and I change out before I go home. You know what I mean? Like, that's my life. And I know it's my guys too. And, I don't want to be the place like, oh, we only sell suits, or, we only sell formal wear, So yes, but did we tweak it? Yes. But, everyone says, I think you always have to dig into the headline, right? People are like, I don't wear suits. If I told you how many suits we sell in a year, you would be like, you're lying. That's not possible. But again, we're a niche within a niche. But I got people coming from Western Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, way down the river in New York, out west, Utica, Rochester. There's less and less real independent men's stores as time goes on, and word travels fast. We have 194 5-star reviews on Google, which is the world's best advertising. I mean, people, you search best suits Albany, Mark Thomas Men's Apparel. I mean, new people are showing up every day, which is, I touched on this earlier. I think we're scratching the surface of what's possible. Again, I don't think we're ever going to be a chain. We're never going to be publicly traded. I have no desire to do so, but I think we could have 2, 3, 4 amazing stores, all around New York that do phenomenal. I mean, just the business model, it works. Retail, the headline during COVID and up to now is, retail's dead, retail's dead. And I do think at the lower level, where it's just commodity, how much can you sell me X for? Like, that's a sucker's game. That's a race to the bottom. But, we offer an experience. Again, you walk in, we have a beautiful leather couch. We have great, Miles Davis is playing, we have scotch, we have bourbon, crystal glasses, beautiful clothes everywhere, in-house tailoring. It's kind of like an experience. And I joke with my customers that I could probably charge a cover charge on the weekend to come in. It'll be XYZ lobbyist in there talking to a big real estate broker who's talking to somebody who owns an accounting firm. Like, the networking that goes on in my store just organically is absolutely amazing. If I ever needed a job, and I hope I never do, I could probably get any job I want in my store in an hour on a Saturday afternoon.
I love it. You're speaking my language about the all about the experience. And I'm sad that you only do men's, because I would be a target market for you for women.
Can I tell you something? And this, I'm going to throw this out there for the whole capital region and anybody on the internet. There's a huge opportunity in Albany for a higher end women's store. All the wives, girlfriends, partners, they always say, I wish there was a place like this for women. I'm not going to do women's. It's a whole different animal. I don't know that business, but I would love to see somebody do it at a high level, because I have this huge captive audience that shops online begrudgingly because there's nowhere they can shop for higher end women's clothing. And these women could shop anywhere. They'll go to Paris, they'll shop, in Florida, in New York City, but they would love to have a place that's local, that has super high-end brands. There's a huge opportunity. And there's a ton of women's stores, but I feel like they're all in the middle. I think that top end where, people can afford to buy what they want, I think there's a huge opportunity.
Absolutely. So. And include the experience that you just talked about.
1,000%, not 3 clicks on, Farfetch or, Bloomingdale's or whatever it might be. I agree. Because I think, e-commerce, it sounds great and wonderful. Saks is spinning off their e-commerce business for an IPO. Macy's is getting pressure to do it by activist investor. Like, I get it. Like, there's a business there. But I think what happens with e-commerce most times is, let's say you arrive, you order 3 different things. 2 of them we end up sending back. I don't think it's very profitable business. I think everyone just thinks, oh my God, e-commerce, I have to do it or I'm going out of business. So we'll see. We shall see. I can't predict the future. In fact, I don't worry about next year or the year after. I'm going to go to work in a few minutes. I'm going to do the absolute best job I can do today. I'm going to make my existing and new customers feel as welcome and taken care of as possible. And I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. If 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, a year from now, I don't have a business because everybody only shops online, that's perfectly fine. I'm willing to do something different. You know what I mean? I'm open-minded, and I don't think that anything's forever but right now I think that, we have this unbelievable niche within a niche that is, rabid fans and loyal to us and supports us every way they can. I'm very comfortable with, the next few years, and up to and including I negotiated a lease and, during the height of COVID, when the world was cratering, for my second store in Saratoga, which should be opening in a few weeks, right on Broadway at 385 Broadway, 2 doors down from the Adelphi, right next to the entrance to Druthers.
Perfect location.
Yeah, I think it's A++. Wolf Road area is where you want to be in the Albany area with the traffic counts, and it's the main commercial thoroughfare. But I think Broadway and Saratoga is the absolute best retail stroll in the capital region. It's not just the track. It's not just 40 days a year. It's year round. It's busy. Saratoga is growing by leaps and bounds. I have 100 Saratoga County customers now, but I know there's 500 guys in my demographic that should be shopping with me. And, I think it works and works really well, even without the track. I'll consider the track a bonus. I'm not counting on the track, but I think, July and August will be, an extra holiday season, the equivalent of an extra holiday season. So.
I love it. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation and your energy. I love your commitment to your business model. I love your grit during it and your philosophy, just how you went, you got through it and you knew you get through it. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And it's just been a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure, Catherine. I really appreciate the time and your patience getting this scheduled. And please stop in Albany, and I will make sure you're on the invite list for Saratoga, the grand opening party in a few weeks.
Love it. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that.